It's important.
I'm glad you made it as well. I just realized I may have lost my earphones. So is my audio okay, guys?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna
Good
make you host.
evening, Stevie. You gonna make me host? Okay. Um, good evening, Stephanie, Tolga, everyone that's in the room, Miss Smith, Miss Barbara. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Miss Smith says that she has hers from last time.
Okay, cool. That's right. Yay, team. All right, and I am putting it in the chat now.
Lisa
Yay.
B said no. Credit question when possible. Steve, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a quick refresher. If you have any questions, drop it. I like to call the chat a parking lot. Let me say this. I'm so sorry. Hi, guys. My name is Racquel May David. I am the co-host along with my wonderful, beautiful partner, Miss Megan. And my goal is to help you become a beast in these credit streets. So I am here to help you navigate the waters of credit, understanding the foundation, and then applying pressure once you have mastered that. So in the chat, Miss Megan has already dropped the CFPB, your money module. Please remember that you guys are our amazing testing group. We are executing, we are learning from you, we are growing with you. So we totally appreciate you are the best husband I ever had. Thank you. Sorry, my husband just found. He found my bed. I would lose everything if it wasn't for my husband. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Tyrone. Thank you for coming into the room, my love, Amanda. So to start off, guys, just to let you guys know, I've been doing credit repair on and off for 20 years. I like to be completely honest. I have not always been as consistent because I was looking at what everyone else was doing and not necessarily what God had purpose for me. And I realized that my purpose is to help people understand the foundations and gain access to it. And I was blessed to have access to Miss Megan. And now I'm here helping everyone get their credit foundations together. So, my name is Racquel May David. I think I said that already. Megan
What?
is amazing with grants. And we are going to
What?
be able to support. But I like to start off in the beginning with making sure that we do a recap of last week's call, making sure we have the foundation, and then we're going to dive in to answering any questions you guys have. So for Steve, if you have any questions, you can put it in the parking lot. I will pin it, and we will make sure that we answer all the questions you guys have. I just want to make sure that we have a clear refresher before we dive into new questions or execution and talking about those tasks. So for everyone who was here last week or the week before, what are the 5 components of the FICO score? And Roger, if you're in the room, you cannot answer.
Facts. Facts.
Huh?
I'm eating dinner, so that's okay.
I love it. I love
Thank
it.
goodness.
Roger cannot answer because I know he took notes and I know he was present. So Roger is not allowed to answer. So the 5 components that make up the FICO score are, anyone can jump off of mute, drop it in the chat. It is my pleasure to research it. Let's talk about the 5 components and then we're going to talk about points. Does anyone know the heaviest weighted portion of your FICO score? Stephanie for the win. Payment history. Yes, honey. Yes. Okay. What is the second heaviest weighted portion of the FICO score? Candid, Candida? Is that correct?
Candida.
Candida. Okay. So when you say debt, can you explain a little bit better to make sure that everyone has the right foundation?
If your debts are higher than your income.
So utilization would be the answer. So you're talking
Okay.
about debt to income ratio. That's not necessarily that falls into place when you're trying to apply for credit, but the portion that we're talking about, which is 30%, is your utilization, which is definitely a part of debt. So you definitely get a point. What's the third? Don't y'all jump in at once now. What's the third? Oh, you cannot cheat, Fun Nation. Fun Nation said history. So history is the first one. That's your payment history. What's the third? So we have history, we have payment history, we have utilization. What's number 3? Credit mix, it is a part of the 5, but it's not number 3. So Stephanie got number 4. So what's number 3? Okay, let me know if y'all give up. Number 3 is age. Age is worth 15% of your overall score. Okay. Mix is number 4. And what's number 5, y'all? Anybody knows number 5? Let me know. Yes, Paul. Come on, Paul, for the win before I got the do. Yes, the last one is applying for credit, which is your inquiry status. Okay. Does anyone know the actual points that these are worth? If not, I will go over it. You can drop an emoji in the chat. If you know it, you can shout it out. I'm a new member, just got in today. Let's go help too. I need help with credit card debt. Okay, understand. We will definitely open up the floor for that. Okay, so your 35% equates to 100, roughly 192.5 points. You cannot earn more points. You can always earn less, okay? But your overall point calculation is roughly worth 192.5 points, okay? That is what your payment history is. Your utilization is roughly 165 points. If you want to be in the 700 club, ideally you want to use less than 20% of your overall available credit by the time the statement closes. If you're wanting to be in the 800 club, you need to use 6 or 7% is really what they like you to have. Your age, which is 15%, is worth 82.5 points. Okay. Your credit mix and your applying or hard inquiries are both worth 10% apiece, which roughly equates to 55 points. Can anyone tell me why it's important to know these points?
Because that's the metric in in the how they check you.
That's how your numbers are calculated. So your baseline number is 300. If you're wanting to get to 850 or 900, like Eduardo says, you have to know where you stand in each of these areas. So if someone is telling me that they have a credit card issue, we know that the credit card is going to impact multiple areas. It's impacting your payment history because the question is, are you paying on time before that 30-day sequence has come through? Is your utilization low? Is it at 50, 30, 100? What do you do if it's over 100% utilization? Is it open for a long period of time? If you're over the age of 20, the goal is for you to have 10 years of average income, average age. Are you hitting that? If not, what's the plan, right? And then the last 2 areas, you want to make sure you have credit mix. Credit mix is revolving versus installment. So if someone comes to me and says to me, oh, I have a lot of inquiries on my file, I need help with my inquiries, but you look and you see that they don't have any credit cards or their credit cards are maxed out, we need to focus on on what the real pain point is to get you back the points you need in those specific areas. So if you guys know the foundation, you will have a better opportunity of creating a game plan for your specific file. So when you go online and you see a lot of people talking about do this, please understand that everyone's profile is different, but the foundation is the same. Your baseline number is 300, and from there, you have to be hitting all of these options in order for you to get to the 850 club, okay? 850 or higher now. All right. Any questions on the foundations? No?
Well,
Awesome.
I
Okay.
entered a little bit late. Is there any way that I could see them like in writing, just in case I forget one of the foundation? Is because you mentioned like 5 or 6.
It's 5 components. If you Google the FICO score, it is available, but I'll also grab a photo and I will grab a link and drop it in the chat so you can have accessibility to that. But that is a question that I will
Thank you.
ask in every class. So you want to definitely know what the foundations are, because we can't move forward unless we have a good foundation. And I know that it might seem tedious, but I promise, guys, the reason why I ask this is so that when we get into your actual file, you will be able to look at your credit profile and say, I know I'm missing this, I know I'm missing that, and how am I going to be able to navigate out of my situation with a clear plan? So, second question, did you drop, Megan, you said that you dropped the PDF today? And I know it's in the chat, right? So question for the people who were here last week, and this was dropped in the chat, how many people were able to go ahead and finish the survey? You can raise your hand or drop an emoji, whichever.
I just dropped it again too.
Thank you. Roger got it done. Come on, Stephanie, big Steph in the building.
That's the money picture, right?
I can't
Yes,
get it
I'm actually
uploaded.
I'm gonna share it. Hold on, let me make sure none of my. Let's minimize this screen. Let's minimize this screen. So Stephanie, do you have your hand raised because you also have a question? So Stephanie and Roger were the 2 people I saw with their hands raised. Vanessa said they got them done. You said no question? Okay, cool. Let me do Google. And thank you so much, Missy, for getting it done. I totally appreciate you. FICO score. You're not seeing, Paul is not seeing which, so my question that I was asking is how many individuals were able to get the actual survey done? So hold on one second. I will share my screen. I think this is it. Let me know if you guys can see it okay. So did everyone get this? Let's see. Thank you, Paul. Yes. Barbara says she can't upload it. Megan, were you able to get it in the PDF under the resources today? Okay.
Yes, I was.
You are amazing. So if you are having a hard time downloading the actual file folder, guys, let me stop sharing really quickly and pull up where you can go and find it. Mhm. All right. So if you guys are, this desktop too. Oh. So if you guys are in the portal, you will scroll down on the left-hand side and you're going to navigate to downloads and PDFs. And under there, you'll be able to get the worksheet. And it's right here. It says your money, your goals to get your money picture. So if you guys are having a hard time actually downloading it from the chat, go here and see if it's a little bit easier for you to have accessibility to it. All right. Erica says they have it. Question in the chat is, should I print it and fill it out? Completely up to you. If you want to print it out, I personally I like to print and write things out. If you want to go ahead and keep it on your phone or keep it on your computer, and that way you have a reference point to look at, that's completely fine as well. All right, so for the individuals that were able to complete it, what were some of the things, if you guys are open to share, that you like, how do you feel now that you filled it out? Do you feel like it gives you a clear idea of where like you weren't necessarily looking at when it comes to budget? Or how do you feel about filling out the survey and looking at your present situation?
I would say it gives you clarity, but then it's how do you resolve the situation?
Mhm.
So I'm at the how.
I love that. Okay. So what particular question made you feel like I needed to get at the how?
Well, I know credit utilization mine is high and
Mhm.
payment history, and I think those two normally go together.
Mhm.
It's like a vicious cycle.
It is a
And it's
balance.
like,
Mhm.
okay, when you know you're here and this is what you want to do, how do you resolve it?
Mhm.
Even if you say, okay, even if I have to work part-time on the side or do a business, I just want to get in a better situation. However, for me, I'm
Mhm.
aware that is a habit. It's a behavior. So
Mhm.
it's like, I know I need to work on that part. So I'm at how.
Okay. I love that. I'm going to give you a few tips, but I do want to ask a few questions before I do. My income is not enough to pay off. Okay, I love that. Here's what I'd like to challenge everyone to thinking of outside of the box. So like Missy said, she said, well, the how am I going to implement it? And okay, do I open a business? I definitely believe that your talents always bless you. So a lot of us have talents outside of our 9 to 5s. Definitely, I'm team exploring what that looks like, and quantifiably, once you know how much your obligations are, you can then figure out where are the gaps so that you can then clearly say, okay, I bring in $3,000 a month, but my expenses are $6,000 a month. So now you have to decide, am I going to try and find a way to bring in this extra 2K, or am I going to try and see where I can cut? And let me be clear, guys, sometimes you can't cut. Like, it might be your car that's setting you over. It might be the kid's school that's setting you over, right? Life is really lifing. And so we're going to talk about practical things. And I want to be completely clear. Some people will be able to execute because it's going to be seamless. Others are going to need a little bit more time and need to give themselves more grace. And I want to challenge you that as you guys are going through this program with us, that the number one thing is implementation and the number two thing is grace. You did not know what you did not know now, and now you're empowered with the knowledge, and now you're going to execute, right? So give yourself grace if it takes time. And some people might be able to do it in 3 months. Some people might need a year. It is okay. Your pace and your flow is going to be exceptional. So it's fine. Miss Barbara went and dropped it in the chat. Thank you, my love, for dropping it in the chat for us. I will go ahead
Fine.
and download it and make sure that Megan and I review. I appreciate it. Anyone else like to share before I start talking about, I think I'm going to cover debt today. Megan, is there any, and when I say debt, I'm going to cover the utilization conversation, and then I'm going to open the floor for questions. Megan, was there any topic specifically that you wanted me to cover it before I jump into the utilization portion and giving some tips and tricks with that?
No, I'm working with people, the ones that still don't have credit. I just got a couple signed up right now. I think we're
Okay, cool.
almost complete. So, the only thing I want to say is there's modules that go with these. As you answer these questions, I did post the answer key, or not answer key, but the table of contents, the answer key type thing, and with this on the Let's Go Help, the one you showed, because that has the answer key to this. So like, it depends on what you need. It'll tell you exactly which modules to go to once we finish the course. So that is something you guys can look at if you need to move through as you're going through your whole answers, just answers. That was so hard for me to say for some reason. Holy crap.
Well, when you come back in the room, if you can share that, or do you have a moment before you go back to them so you can share your screen and share that?
Yep, I sure can.
And then, Rachel, I have a question.
No moment.
Yes. 1 second. I think Vanessa had her hand up first, and then it'll be you. Is that Miss Turner?
Yes.
Okay. So Vanessa, and then you after Megan. So let Megan share, and I definitely will be there.
Well, go ahead. Let me pull it up. Go ahead, and somebody can ask a question while I pull it up.
Okay. So Miss Vanessa, you're first. What was your question? You had your hand raised.
I didn't have a question. I was just looking at the survey, and it made me think more that I need to start writing down all my bills so I can start paying them on time, because I pay them, but then I pay them late or I forget about them. And so it kind of made me more aware of that. I need to start writing them all down and going by and checking them off as I pay them, and make sure I pay them every month on time.
Absolutely. So let me ask the question, since you just said that, and it's going to lead into my other question. What is on time?
Well, I thought it was by the due date, but I was going over the stuff, and isn't it the best time to pay it is when the statement is ready, or statement is put out, or something like that, right?
So
not when it's due.
So I love the fact that you're thinking about the statement date, because that's going to play a big part in your utilization, which is your 30%. But there is a clear difference between what is late for the FICO score, the calculations, versus what is late for the actual creditor. So does anyone know the difference betwixt the two? All right. So when it comes to the FICO score, you are not late until you are actually 30 days past due, right? That is what the FICO team, when they do their calculations, if you're 30, 31, 32, 33, you are considered late. For the creditor, your due date dictates you being late with them, but that may not necessarily mean that you're 30 days past due. Using the example of your mortgage payment. Your mortgage may be due on the 1st. It is then considered late by the 15th. However, you cannot be reported late to the credit reporting agencies until you are until you're at 30 or more days past due. So if we have to rob Peter to pay Paul while we're getting out of the situation, understanding the difference between being late with the actual creditor versus being late with the actual credit reporting agencies, which holds more weight, has to be an understanding. So like Ms. C says, there is a lot of times where the payment history or how you are paying is impacting you gravely, and it's impacting your payment history along with your utilization. And we're going to dive into utilization questions now. I'm going to pause and then get back to Ms. Vanessa, and then Mr. D, and then Steve, you're next. Go ahead, Megan, sorry.
Okay, you're good. Okay, so the reason, as we said, you guys are our pilot program, and what we're trying to do is decipher where we need to spend our time with this group, So the questionnaire pretty much will tell us that. So that's kind of what we have. And then if you, for some reason, don't ever get a chance to come back to this class, if you're part of a trial or whatever, then you can actually go find this resource for yourself and follow through it on the module on your own. But if you are going through here, it's really helpful to us so that we know where to spend our time, who needs what, and what we can do to help you. And we can kind of tailor the class towards what you actually need instead of just giving you random throwing stuff out there and hoping it sticks, we can actually give you what you need. So that's why these were so important. And if you haven't filled it out, please, please, please do. And if you, came in later, whatever you need it, let me know and I can post it again as many times as you need. That's all.
I love that. So Miss Vanessa, did that make sense, my explanation?
Yes, it did. I didn't realize that. I know I don't know if it was last week or if I was reading something or that y'all said that it's best
Oh,
to
we did.
pay. Yeah, it
Mhm.
was you guys. Yeah, that before the due date, like
But
when
that's if your statement
statement date.
falls, if your statement falls before the due date, then you want to pay during your statement date so that once because the statement date, and I want to be clear, this is talking specifically for credit cards. So when we're giving you specifics, I don't want us to blanket it across the board. I want us to stick to the specific topics that we're speaking to. So when it comes to credit cards or credit lines, definitely making sure that you are paying on, I normally say 2 to 3 days before the statement date would be ideal for you because that will help your utilization go down. Remember, if we're talking credit cards, guys, you're able to pay the credit card, pay the balances down. So let's say if you have a bill that's $1,000 that's due on the 15th, but your statement closes on the 1st and you have that $1,000, you can turn around and pay that $1,000 on the card on the 1st, or I would say 2 to 3 days before then, and then you wait until your statement date closes, and then you take that same $1,000 and pay the bill that you already have outstanding that's due on the 15th. There is a balancing act that we're going to have to talk about while we're working ourselves out of the situation. But when we're talking just basic due dates, your due date is the latest possible day you can make the payment without a fee being assessed. That doesn't always mean that it's going to be reported to the credit reporting agency. The law states that the creditor can only report you if you are 30 or more days late. Student loans is normally like 60 days, but just to give you guys the foundation of how the law is written. Ms. Turner, I think you were next, and then it's Steve, and then it's Pamela. Turner, what questions do you have?
Yes, I just had a question about the student loan, like it's a Parent Plus loan that I have for my son, and I have not done anything with it at all. They have it in a, I guess I was supposed to start like in September when they lifted all that, but I never did do anything with that. And so I didn't know, eventually it's going to roll over to my credit. And I recently got my credit to a point where it's only like about 700 right now. But that's only because I've been taking, the rollout method, how you pay the highest,
Yep, the snowball method. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's kind of where I started from, and then that's where I'm at. But I think my student loans is going to create a problem because I haven't done anything with that. So I don't know how to
so
handle
you
that.
can do something with it. When it comes to your student loan, you can go to studentaid.gov and you can actually go ahead and apply for an income-based repayment plan, and you can apply for forbearance or a deferment. What option would be best to you? We can dive in on a class, so Megan and I can get a class. But the first thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and check to see when you need to start making payments. So you can either have your child, well, is it saying immediately that you have to start paying? Because normally it's 6 months after your child has graduated.
Oh yeah, he's been out of school.
Okay.
It hasn't been paid, initially because they wanted to be like $700 a month. I can't pay $700 a month for it.
That's why you have to go through an income-based repayment plan. So that's fine. But
they said I didn't qualify. That's why I done that already too. They said I didn't qualify.
Okay, so that would be something that we would have to look at together, because what information you're plugging in will determine whether or not they say you qualify. If you're the head of household, they're also taking only, because the laws have changed. So they're only looking at taking 10% or less of your discretionary income. So after all of the bills that you have to pay. So you need to be very clear on all of your responsibilities when you're doing the income-based repayment plan. So if you're leaving anything out, and this is why it's very important to know what your debts are, if you're leaving anything out, your discretionary income looks like you have more money available than what you have.
Okay, yeah, and I'm not single, so my husband is on there, and he's the one that's causing us to pay a little bit more.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Because yeah, when I did mine, my husband and I were not married, so of course they only went off of my stuff. So it does work, but you have to look at what your expenses are together. So
Okay.
just as though they're looking at your incomes together, you need to look at what are the expenses for both of you, not just one of you. And if they're looking at just the earnings and they're like, well, you say you guys make this amount, but you guys don't have these expenses, the discretionary income is saying that you have more money accessible than what you really do.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so we'll be able to review that, and we can have a class. We can build a class for that. That's not a problem, so that we can go through it together. But definitely look at it, see what's there. If you can at the moment, if it's saying that it's due now, see if they have an option for forbearance or deferment, and then we can then jump on a call and look over everything together.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right, Steve, and then Pamela. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Steve been so patiently waiting, and he like, I too would be interested in student loan session. No problem, Stephanie. I will make sure to put it in our calendar so we can review. Steve, you ready? You're still on mute, my love. Steve, are you available? Let me see. Okay, seems like we're having a little audio issue with Steve. So Steve, if you can put it in the chat, it'd be greatly appreciated. Pamela, I see you lowered your hand, but did I answer your question?
Hello,
Hi.
how are you?
Wonderful. How are you, darling?
I'm doing just great. Thank you so much for asking. I came into the meeting late and I accidentally tapped my raise my hand button. So I'm just
Okay.
listening. Okay.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Well, thank you. Great information though.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Steve, you have questions? Once I will definitely put it on the calendar for us to do a student loan class so that everyone will have accessibility to it. For all of you guys that want to have accessibility to it, please make sure you go to studentaid.gov and you create your username and password if you have not done so already, so that once we get into the class, it's all about implementation on that day. All right. I'm not quite yeah, I'm here. Who's that? Is that Steve?
Where do we go for that?
Do you have student loans, Mr. Roger?
Never mind.
If you don't have student loans, you do not worry about it. If you do have student loans, you're going to studentaid.gov. I will grab it and put it in the chat so that you guys can have it. Myth or no myth? If your student loans are in forbearance, can you have the account temporarily removed or hidden? Myth or are you saying true or false? I've had it. Okay. The question to the room, myth or no myth? Are you asking that to me or are you just asking that to the room? Sorry, I want to make sure. The question in the chat is myth or no myth. If student loans are in forbearance, can you have the account temporarily removed or hidden? Miss C said it's a myth. Anyone else want to vote? Yes, if you can answer that, please. And okay, you want me to answer that? Okay. I have mine in forbearance, but it shows on my credit. So I can tell you that when you go through the credit repair process, there have been times that when your account is in forbearance, that when you go through it, the account gets removed off of your profile. For transparency, there's a lot of times that when you go through the dispute process, the accounts are removed. A lot of people start showing results on their screen like remove, remove, remove. I don't have a problem showing that, but I like deleted because deleted means that it's been investigated and it's been permanently, it's been taken off of the account, off of your report. Now, that doesn't mean that the account may not be sold or it may not come back later, right? But ideally, whether you're in forbearance or not, I have seen where the accounts are taken off of the profile before. So hopefully that helps. But normally it's through the dispute process where I've seen it be removed. I've not heard of hidden before. So that is, ooh, was there a bug in here? So that is new. I've not heard of hidden before. Okay, so does it affect your score because the money is owed? So yes, that is going to be a part of your calculation when it comes to your debt, when it comes to your utilization. That debt is still showing up there. So if you're looking to get a house, however, they normally only calculate about 2% of what your student loans are in your numbers for you to qualify for a house. So just keep that in mind. So it can impact you. That's why a lot of times I ask people to consolidate their student loans. The reason why I tell them to consolidate it is because a lot of times we have 7, 8, 13 different loans. If you are late, you are now late on 13 accounts. That looks so crazy. So the offset to that is to try and consolidate. So it's not, like I said, Fun Nation, the question was, how do we hide it? I've never really seen it hidden. I have seen it be removed. So Fun Nation support, if you can tell us if you've ever seen hidden and how have you heard that before, that'd be great. But again, I've seen removed, and normally it gets removed through the dispute process. So sometimes you'll see some people start disputing the student loans. It gets removed while it's under investigation, and then sometimes it comes back on. And I want to clarify that when you go through credit repair, a lot of people think that when you go through credit repair, you no longer owe that debt. I want to clarify that people who are doing credit repair properly, they are leveraging the law to have the debt removed. If the company is not following the law as it pertains to that debt, then the credit reporting agencies are supposed to remove the accounts. Now, if they then correct the issue and that particular creditor chooses to pay to put the debt back on, then they can choose to do that, right? However, what is according to the law is that the account information that's on your credit report is supposed to be accurate and follow the guidelines of the law. If it is not, then it needs to be removed or deleted. And that is why it'll come back. Okay, Fun Nation, what question you got, my love? You with me? Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, my love.
Yes.
Thank you, darlings. Fun Nation, try again, friend. Your audio is not audioing for us.
I can hear you.
Thank you, JoJo.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.
Anytime, girl.
Come on, give it to me. Sorry. Fun Nation, I'm not quite sure what's going on with the audio. Please forgive us.
I see that her mic went on and off.
And then off.
Times, but
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you can put it in the chat, not quite sure what's going on. Okay, we got another download. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Toga, let me make sure I have it saved here.
Are you saving them? 'Cause
Yeah, I'm downloading and
I was-
saving them.
Okay, cool. Because I was doing it too, but if you're going to do it, then I want a lot.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember to rename them. Do we need the names or can we just, we don't need the names, right?
We're not supposed to even keep the name, so nope.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure because I was like, I'm cool with us just having the data so we can make sure we're planning out the structure well. So Fun Nation, if you can put it in the chat, I got you. E, what questions you got, my love?
Hi, it's me, E. How are you doing?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm going back to the Phoenician question.
Mhm.
So basically, maybe hidden isn't the correct term, but
Mhm.
I mean that was the way that these individuals have referred to it as far as getting it maybe removed.
Mhm.
But then like you said, it could just possibly be temporary, right? Unless it's
Mhm.
like deleted. So deleted is for sure, removed is for now. More than likely, is that correct?
So either one for transparency, because a lot of people don't, I like to give y'all a straight no chaser, okay? Whether it's deleted or removed, let's talk about what happens on the back end. So let's say the creditor said that you owe them $2,000, right? However, you have documentation that says I only owe them $1,000. You have the documentation, you have everything in tow. You go ahead and submit that to the credit reporting agencies. The credit reporting agencies then remove the documentation and say, hey, based on this information that was submitted to us, you need to review your records. This is them talking to the creditor. And you have this amount of time frame to remove the information. So now the creditor is supposed to do their investigation, come back, and they can then update with the correct information that says, hey, it was removed. This is incorrect. Here's the correct information. So now the account will go from removed to back on your profile and it now has the correct amount, right? Or they can be deleted because they have not answered the account in enough time. So therefore, the credit reporting agency is like, hey, we gave you this amount of time to do the research, get back to us. You haven't done so. So now we're going to delete this particular account. If the creditor corrects the error, the account can then be put back on the profile because now it's following the letter of the law. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
My pleasure. So the removal is, I guess you could say that's the hidden verbiage. That makes sense. But normally, yeah, when I think of remove, the way that I like to train my clients is removed means it's under investigation. Delete means it's gone for now. I treat credit repair the same way I treat claims when I was in insurance. That claims never die, accounts never die, because there's a possibility that Steve was the original person that I owed the debt to, but Steve then sells the debt to Barbara. Barbara then sells the debt to Jojo. Jojo then sends the debt to Megan. So now that one debt has been tossed around like hot potato, and as we're tossing it around like hot potato, all of those information is being put on the account. And let's be clear, the creditor has to make sure that the information that is on the report is accurate and up to date, right? But if it moves from Steve's hands to JoJo's hands, when Steve had it, you owed him this debt. But now that it's gone to JoJo, you can now advocate and say, hey, once I have made a settlement with JoJo and that gets deleted and removed, I can leverage that to take it away from Megan. I can take it away from Barbara and take it away from Steve. So that account is completely off of my profile altogether. Go ahead, E. What questions you have, Mela?
Yes. So then that kind of puts me down another rabbit hole.
Mhm.
I've also heard that if someone, let's say, your account gets passed on to someone else and you weren't notified, that's also another loophole in the sense of a dispute.
So let me be clear. You can dispute anything. You can dispute anything. Is that something that you can prove, right? So now it goes back to what can you prove? If that that lender, so normally when you're talking about mortgages, that mortgage lender is supposed to let you know when he's sending you to a new servicer so that you can make sure that you are paying that new servicer. But if that account is in collection, that same rule does not apply, because collections normally means that you're no longer paying and they have now deemed that you are not collectible. So some companies will say, okay, for instance, you owed a Bank of America card. Bank of America kept calling, texting, tweeting. They sent drums, they sent drones. You didn't answer. After 120 days, they normally move your account from a collectible standings to non-collectible, which is normally when you go to charge off. Some companies have an internal charge off area. Some companies do not. Miss Doreen, if you can do me a favor and copy that, and then I guess you know what? I'll copy it. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can copy it for you. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Where's my notepad? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to see if I can. Yeah, it's not allowing me to copy that, Mr. Reed. So if you can copy what you wrote and then send me a message on the app, that'd be great. Or take a picture and then we can figure out how to get it later, because I want to make sure that we have your scoring as well. Back to it. Some people have internal collection team, which they'll still try to collect after that 120 days. Your account is now closed. They'll still keep it in-house. Some companies, once it gets to that charge off, they may do what's known as a profit and loss write-off, where they say, I know this person is never going to pay me, so I want to get a tax credit for the fact that this debt is not going to be paid back. Then what ends up happening is that turns into quote unquote earnings for you as the consumer and a tax break for the actual party who is the original creditor. That original creditor can take that debt and now sell it to someone else for them to try to collect pennies on the dollar for what you owe. That's where those third-party collection companies come in. Okay, but the laws and what you're speaking of, it depends on if we're talking about an open account versus a closed account. I hope I elaborated that well. Let me know if you have any additional questions, E. I love your questions, by the way. You guys are so good.
I'm good for now. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. You are so good. Like, you come with the good questions, E.
I'm trying.
I love it. I love it. All right. So any other questions before I think I want to make sure I answered everyone. Is it Tolga? I think Tolga had a question at the beginning. They said, I have credit card debt. Hey, Megan.
Hey, real quick. How many responses do we have altogether?
So far, we
Yep.
have, I've downloaded 2, 3. I have 3 so far that have
Okay.
turned in.
So we have 43 people in this room.
Yeah. So we
Okay.
need a couple more.
I'm about to do one.
Okay.
Thank you, Roger.
Just check in, guys. Just check in.
All right. So this statement of never pay collections is a comma, not a period or an exclamation. So before I get into the debt conversation, I want to address this comment in the chat. Never pay a collection without validating that the debt is legitimate, 1. Without ensuring it's still within the collectability window, 2. Those are A and B before you decide to pay an actual creditor. Yep, you want to validate that the debt is collectible. Here's the thing. I used to want to have a debt collection company because I thought to myself, I can buy the debt and then I can sell my credit repair to those individuals that I obviously know are in debt, right? So with doing that, I went and I found out a lot of the laws that was happening. one of the things that people miss out on is that a lot of these third-party companies are buying what I call a snapshot: your name, the amount you owe, your date of birth, your address. They're not getting contracts. They're not getting the actual payment history, right? Thank you, Missy. I appreciate it. Let me go ahead and save this one as well. They're not actually getting the meat and potatoes of actually what the whole account looks like. So with that being said, there could be some gaps. They could add additional fees that are not legally allowed to be added. They could have the wrong pricing amount, right? So because of those areas, you don't want to pay a collection, especially from and this is specifically talking about a third-party collector. If you know for sure you owe Verizon, we don't need to validate that debt because you got the account with Verizon. If you're saying this Verizon was not mine, I don't have any recollections of being with Verizon when I was 18 or 21 or 25, cool, we can go ahead and validate. But if this is a third-party collector, you want to validate that the debt is actually legit. Second component, there's three things. Second component is it still collectible? Now, there are two different types of collectability. Everyone's state has a collectability window where they can take you to court to sue you for that particular document. Okay? Can they take you to court to sue you? A lot of companies like American Express, I live in the state of Texas. Texas is a 3-year collectability state, which means within the first 3 years of this debt, they can take me to court. After 3 years, they cannot take me to court. Now, that doesn't mean that they cannot continue collection efforts. That doesn't mean that they cannot still show up on my credit report. That just means they no longer have the legal routes that they can take me to court, get a judgment, and then try to garnish my check or my bank account after that time window, okay? Number 3, some states require a license for this third-party collector to take money or collect funds from you. A lot of times people are making payments. However, they do not, they're making payments. However, they do not have an active license, and your state may require a license. So let me grab this, and I did put this in the chat before. Consumer, give me 1 second, y'all. I want to make sure that you guys have it in real time. Let me go to Google. All right, so I'm going to drop a link in the chat, guys. This link that's in the chat. Steve, I see that you say not my place. I'm not quite sure. Are you saying that your state does not require you to have a license? So I'm going to actually start sharing the screen so you guys can see. Give me 2 seconds. Let me know if you can see my screen, okay? All right, so this is a map. Okay, guys? This map is saying what is legally allowed state per state. So Montana does not legally require a license. Neither does Utah, neither does South Dakota, neither does Kansas, neither does Oklahoma, Missouri, Mississippi, Kentucky, Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia, Ohio, Vermont, and New York also do not require, as well as DC, y'all. Okay, DC and Virginia. Every other state has a requirement, not just if there's a license, but also if there is required to be bond. If that collector does not have a resident manager, collector registration, bond of 5K if you're in New Mexico, and a license, they cannot collect the funds from you. Okay? So you want to make sure that as you're going through debt, not a blanket, don't pay collections. Does your state require them to have a license? If they do, you can look up at your state, see if that person has an active license. If they do not, guess what? You can print that off, send that off to the actual credit reporting agency with your credit report, highlighting that account with a letter stating, hey, this person's supposed to have an active account. They don't have one. We need to get this removed, right? So there are actual laws that you can leverage to not pay the debt. But again, I want to clarify, if they rectify the situation, they can what? Circle the block and try to get their money, as long as it's within the collectability window. Any questions on this chart? What about Connecticut? Connecticut is in blue, my love. So with Connecticut, their company is required to have a license. They have to have a bond of 50K or more. They have to have, they do have some possible exemptions. They do not have to have a resident manager, which means you're just like a registered agent, basically. They do have to pass a background check. They don't have to have a collector's registration. Yes, Ms. Smith, what question you have, my love?
Hi, good evening. I just have a question. If I think I just sent my survey, and I don't know if you see it.
Yes, ma'am, I see it. I'm downloading them as we
My
go.
first time to do this, I was nervous, like don't want to say something else.
No, you are fine.
And hold on, no, I have a question about number. Hold on, number. Number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not working and I'm a public assistant, and now I can how I can say, can you cover all of your pill and living expenses?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can, because I'm a public assistant, and hold on. Living expense each month with the money benefit and other research you have. Only I have is I'm a public assistant, so I've been receiving some pill at home like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot cover, because most of all I need to, like paying my rent. And
Hold on, I'm not quite clear. Are you saying that you can or you cannot?
I cannot.
So you cannot cover all of your expenses? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I
Okay.
a phone company before, and they keep sending to me the bill till this year.
Okay, so did you have a question about that? I want to make sure I'm answering.
How this program can cover? Like what I need to do?
What we're trying to do is get all of the surveys in so that we can then support and align you with the modules accordingly. So we need to know where everyone stands so that we can then support you moving forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
my survey, I didn't put my name on it. Am I have to?
We don't need to have anyone's name on it at all. You're good.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for dropping it in. I am clicking as we go. All right, before I get into nobody disclose your personal information. Yes, yes. You don't have to put your names on it. Oh. I think I clicked to open. Okay. And we are going to print. Here we go. All right. So talking about the 30% and that 165 points. So y'all do not have to, if y'all don't want to answer the question, y'all are fine, but I like to know who's in the room. How many people's utilization is at 50%? How many people's utilization is at 90% or higher when it comes to their credit cards?
Almost there, but no.
Okay, but almost there, almost at 90. Okay. I have some people that say me. Steve said hell no. All right, Steve, you a gangster.
Can you please repeat that question again? I'm sorry.
No problem. How many people's credit cards are at 90% utilization or more?
For the credit score?
Credit cards. So you
For
have a
credit-
credit card and a credit card limit is $300 and you're using $289. You're using $300. You are at $353. How many's profile looks like that? Come on, Mr. Steve, in here. Okay, mine.
And I organize
Yes,
it.
okay.
Let me use
All
my-
right, so for those of you guys that are at 100% or more utilization, this is the hack I'm going to give you before your statement date closes. I'm going to explain again, the statement date is when the actual interest is added onto your account. So if you are simply making the minimum payments, you are not going to help yourself get out of the hole, because once that interest hits again, you're going to go right back over that 100% threshold. So for those of my people that are at 100% or more, you are to pay your minimum payment times 2 plus $4. Yes, Tolga, you do need this. You can get the sponsorship code, I think. I'll tell Megan if you can check out Tolga has a question.
We are actually full.
Or full? Okay. So we're at capacity. So if you're getting the smart credit, that would be no, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna run that again. Minimum payment times 2 plus $4. If you are at personally 80% or higher, 80% or higher, guys, minimum payment times 2 plus $4. This gives you the ability that when the interest rate hits again, it does not put you over the limit. When are you going to make that payment? Missy, when do you make that payment? Minimum payment times 2 plus $4. Anyone?
Before the statement date.
Yes. Come on, Barbara. Yes. All right, Stephanie, I saw your hands up. What was your question? Stephanie? Oh, you're going to type it. All right, cool beans, cool beans. I got you. 2 to 3 days before the statement date is about to close. You got it, okay? So if you are at 80% or more, I need us to be really clear on what a credit card is. It is a revolving account. So if you have the capital and you are saying, I need to pay my light bill, that's $300, but I want to pay down my balance. Number one, I know someone mentioned it in the room. The snowball method is an amazing way to get out of debt. Is it something that you can do right away? Possibly not. What the snowball method is you're starting with the credit card account that you have that has the lowest limit, and you are pouring in as much funds in that particular account, and you are just making the minimum payments with the other accounts, right? I personally tell everyone you should have at least 2 credit cards. One credit card should cover your lifestyle in the sense of your gas, your light bill, if you can pay your rent or your mortgage with your card, because your card should be giving you cash back or emergency benefits, right? With you utilizing that. However, if you don't have that and you have 2 small cards that are $300 a piece, $500 a piece, and your lifestyle is more than that, you need to make sure that you're being very aggressive with how you're paying, and you are paying attention to when you pay. The statement date is when your information is going to be tattletale to the actual credit reporting agency. So if you give $5 on Tuesday, your statement closes on Friday, pay the $500, and then wait until after your statement date closes, and then use that card to pay whatever bill it is that you need. Remember, credit cards are revolving accounts. You get to pay it, you get access to the money, and you can use it again. but you have to be strategic on how you're using it. A debit card is not the same thing. A debit card gives you access to your checking account and what's in your bank account. You want to be careful, because if you're trying to get a card, they're going to charge you out the butt when you're using a debit card. A lot of these, especially if you're getting it from, what do you call it? The airport. The airport will be like, we need to see a return flight. We need to see this. We need to see that, because you're using a debit card. You want to be clear to make sure that you're using a credit card, if at all possible. It safeguards access to your money in your account. And it's a lot easier to get your money back when you're using your credit card versus your bank account. Your debit card needs to be in a safe, in your house, in the drawer, in the back of the closet. That's just how I feel. Stephanie's question is, and should I do the minimum payment ×2 +4 for all of my credit cards? That is specifically necessary if your utilization is above 90%. If your utilization is not above that, then that doesn't necessarily need to be done. If you're looking to pay off your cards, you can also use that trick if you have the accessibility to do so. I want us to pay attention that the credit card statement, when it has that amount, that minimum payment that is due, realistically, the creditors decided to do that because they realized that if they put a number on there, a lot of people would pay that smaller number instead of paying off what was due. Therefore, they were able to collect interest on the funds. We're smarter than that now. We know that that's a trick. So if the balance on the card is $100 and you have $100, pay the $100. You have access to it again. You can swipe, because remember, you pay, you use, you dip and do. So Stephanie, if you want to use that as your payoff method, what you can do is apply that to the account that you have that's over 100%. And then if you want that to be your snowball method, that could be the snowball method that you use on the lower tier cards that you may have. Completely fine. Any questions on that, guys? My pleasure, my pleasure. Sorry, I signed in a little late. Can you please explain what smart credit and what is at capacity? Sure. So smart credit is the credit monitoring service that's being provided. Give me 1 second. Diego, I'll answer that. Adrian, what questions do you have, my love?
So I don't want to be off. I was going to ask you about building the credit part. There's a credit or a card that you can get that you can pay your rent on to build your business, your credit. Can you give me the name of that?
That one of them is called Built. Let me see if I can find the link. Hold on. There are a couple of them, but I know the owners of Built.
BUILT?
I think so. Or is it BI? I think it's BILT.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just kind of sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
The ladies, some people were so kind to help me out. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Man.
Hold on 1 second, guys. There's a bunch of them, but I do know Rent Reporters is one. I want to say it's Built. If I find the link while we're talking, I'll drop it in the chat, but I want to say Built is one. Another one is Flex. Great question. Did you have anything else?
No, you said Flex, Built, and what was some type of reporters?
Rent Reporters.
Okay, Rent Reporters.
Yep.
That's all.
You're welcome.
So much for your help on that.
My pleasure. And it's Built. BILT. You got it. See, I knew it was, friend. I knew it was. I'm gonna grab it and put it in the chat. Because I've seen them before, so I like them. I've been in rooms with them. Diego, capacity, we were talking about credit cards. So a lot of people who are at 90% utilization of their cards or more, I was giving them a tip to help them pay down their utilization or come up with a strategy to be able to pay off their profile. So, to get out of debt, basically. So I definitely appreciate the question. Hey, Vanessa, what questions do you have, my love?
I was gonna ask, what was the good, I guess, utilization? You should use like 10%, 5%, keep it under or around.
So realistically, if you can do zero, then do zero. If you can't, right? Ideally, if you're wanting to be at in the 700 club, you want to be at 20% or lower. If you want to be in the 800 club, it's 10% or lower.
Okay.
And I just dropped that in the chat, Adrian.
That would, I guess, be like my second question, because I've got 34 accounts, but only 14 open, and the rest are closed, but they closed them because I didn't use them. So
correct.
Is that bad? So I mean, I was trying to pay them off and then I didn't use them and then they just closed them. So that goes against me, doesn't it?
Correct. So the thing is not just, okay, so credit is like a muscle. And if they see that you're not using it, the creditor will say, I'm going to close the account. That's going to impact your age. And that's also going to impact your utilization. So the best practice is if you've paid off a card, that you put it in rotation to swipe the card to pay a bill at least once every 3 to 6 months.
3 to 6. Okay. So should I try to get those cards back open since it shows I have 34, but only 14 open, or
it depends. Some of the creditors will open it back. Others will tell you that you have to reapply. So depending on your file will depend on, like, I can't really tell you what's best without seeing your whole profile. But if you have the ability to reopen the account, like American Express is a company that when they close your account, you can still come back to them even a year or two after. So just keep that in mind.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure. I think the message in the chat is Boom is also a good option for rent payment. If you can drop the link. Oh, I think I found it. Hey, I found it. Look at me pushing buttons and whatnot. I'm hearing word on the curb, Adrian, is that there's a cheaper option than Built, and they're called Boom. So I'm going to drop them in the chat as well.
Yep, and they also I've dropped up a top two. They also will do it for it's like $5 a month, and then it goes up to $9 instead of the 45. And their check for your landlord is just a phone call, so you can take that and do what you want with it. they call whatever number that you give them. That's what I'm saying. And like rent reporters, that they'll actually look up the management sometimes. So
got it. I love that. So y'all got the stuff in the chat. All right, Wendy, how can I help?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, how you doing?
Wonderful.
I wanted the information to be repeated again on the statement, because my points had really dropped and I'm like struggling to I'm making payments, but then I'm not seeing any progress. Like I'm making payments, but now that you mentioned ×2 and the $4.
So 1 second, when are you making the payments?
On time, like the due date.
So your due date is the latest possible day you can make a payment before a fee is assessed. Specifically speaking about credit cards. Your statement date is the date that they're going to tattletale your expenses to the credit reporting agency. So your payment about how you're paying is going to make more of an impact if you're paying 2 to 3 days before your statement date is about to close, rather than you paying every single week. Unless that's a card that you are using, like for instance, I have a Capital One card. I drop $1,500 on that Capital One card every single week. That is just what I do because I use it for everything. If I have to pay a school fee for my son, if my kids call me out the blue to ask for something, that particular card, that is what I pay on it every 1 to 2. Normally it's every 2 weeks that I'm dropping that on that card. My other cards, however, I am strategically paying them 2 to 3 days before the statement date, either paying the whole thing off or paying as much as possible to keep it at that 20% threshold for all of my cards, or 10% if you're looking to be in the 800 club.
Oh, well,
So if
I
you're
don't know
paying
if
on
I
your
don't
due
know if I'm gonna
date,
get there anytime soon. I guess I have to get help from debt collectors or something.
so
Well,
so one
I'm
second. The
not.
credit
I
cards you
don't
have
owe
now.
anything. I don't. I'm not late for anything. I'm
Uh-huh.
just the past 2 years I've been struggling. I'm on disability income,
Okay.
looking for jobs here and there. When I do get a job, I try to catch up, but then I have to use my card again. So I'm like literally maxed out on all my cards.
So my question is, with your cards, again, we're
Yeah.
going back to the question, how are you paying them? You're saying your due date. What I'm telling you is your due date is not needing to be your focus. You need to pull your statement and see, when are they running to report my business to the credit reporting agencies.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
That's the date that you need to
I
pay.
think one of them, I could say the statement goes in or the statement ends on the 10th. So then I should pay like what, the 8th,
The
9th?
8th. The 8th. I normally
Okay.
say the 7th or the 8th you pay, and then you can turn around and use that card again on the 11th.
Oh, I thought a couple more days to process. No? Oh,
The statement closes on the 10th. The next day you can use it.
okay. All right. So
Yeah.
find out
If
for the
you
rest
want to
of the
be
cards.
safest too, that's fine. Yeah. For the
So-
just find those states out for all your cards.
Because one of my cards is with a Capital One, and their percentage is killing me, their interest. So I guess if I do that with the statement date, then I'll probably won't be. Will I still be hit with the interest, the high interest rate, or that's a different topic?
So your interest is applied right when your state. So that's why the statement date is so important, because if you're paying the balance before the statement hits, you're not getting charged any interest. So let's say your card is $300. You have $300 in your bank account, right? You then take that $300 and you pay your full card off. What am I charging you interest on? You paid me what you owed me. So now there's no fee that's going to be charged to you because you paid what you owe. Now, if you only paid $100 of that $300, now I'm charging you interest on that $200 you have left.
Okay, so regardless, they're gonna charge me the interest if I, they're gonna charge me the interest if I don't pay that full amount. Regardless.
Correct.
Okay,
Regardless, but it's going to happen on the statement date, not the due date. So that's why I want everyone to understand your statement date is what's making a clear distinction. And someone in the chat says mailing it versus paying it online makes a difference. Absolutely. I am definitely a key player of paying on the app. I love me some Capital One. I really love me some American Express. Those two, and Discover, love them, right? But you go to the app, you make a payment. The reason why I always say 2 to 3 days before is because Capital One is notorious, and I'm just telling y'all the facts. They are so bad with reporting on-time payments, y'all, with calculating it through the system, that Walmart stopped working with them because the customers were complaining about their funds not being posted when it should have been posted. So that's why not everyone is reporting your information accurately, and why we say that there are errors, because we know by law, literally, Capital One just lost their contract with Walmart because of the fact that they do not make the funds available when they're supposed to. So you want to give yourself that breathing room, that if the statement closes on the 10th, if you paid it on the 7th or the 6th, you wait till that statement closes, and then you go ahead, because how you know it closes is that a new bill populates in the system. That statement date is what generates the bill.
And what does it mean to be in default? When are you in default?
When you're not paying. When you're not
so
paying.
we're not paying at all. So me making payments, but I'm not at default, like I'm not late or anything, no late charge or anything.
You're not in default.
But I'm not at the 30%. So can I still should I go reach out for debt collectors to help me, like a credit counselor or something, to help me with it if I'm like drowning, to try to catch up with
If
it?
you're trying to catch up, you need to create an exit plan. Getting another company in. So let me be clear on what that other company is going to do. That other company is going to get on the phone, call the debt collector, and see if they can lower your bills. You can do that yourself. You can call your debt collector and you can say, hey, this is my situation. You know, someone passed away or I just got placed on disability, blah, blah. You can negotiate on your own behalf and not pay a fee. Here's why I'm not big on debt collectors. And I'm not going to, I mean, debt consolidation companies. There are a couple that I've worked with in the past that are amazing because they pay off the debt for you and then you make payments back to them in one monthly payment, but they pay off all your creditors. A lot of the debt collectors that are out there, they do not do that. They're collecting money from you every single month. They're waiting for you to default, which means go to past due, get into charge off, and then they go ahead and negotiate to settle the debt. There are a lot of credit card companies, and I'm just telling you from what I know. My aunt lost her husband. Citibank waived any fees and did not charge her any late fees and made her pay what she could for 1 full year because he was the primary breadwinner. Right? These credit card companies, it's in their best interest to help you. A lot of people don't think outside of the box when it comes to having this conversation. Number one, call them, find out what's on your credit card. A lot of these credit cards you guys sign up with for insurance, that if you're not able to pay for 6 months or so, that the insurance will cover the payment, but people don't call to find out if they've activated that. A lot of people don't even activate it. Those are tools that you can leverage so that if something happens, you're in a better spot. Number two, if your utilization is high, you've been with a credit card company for 3 to 4, for anything longer than 6 months, you should be asking for a credit limit increase. If you increase your limits, you automatically lower your utilization. So sometimes you're not even having to get yourself out of debt by dumping all this money in. Sometimes you can create yourself some breathing room by just having conversation. So instead of going to a debt counselor, call that creditor that you might be having an issue with and say, hey, do you guys have the ability to pause on this interest? Do you have the ability to lower my interest for a certain amount of time? Can I do a balance transfer? Can I apply for another card, right? If your credit score is at a 620, 630, and your utilization or your debt to income ratio is at 30 to 40%, you can potentially apply for another card and see if you can do a balance transfer. So now you're not paying any interest for X amount of time while you're building yourself out of debt. There's a certain way that you can navigate, but you have to figure out where you are and then carve out the plan that you need. There are hardship plans, there are pauses that you can get. You just have to call the creditor and explain to them where you are and then see if they have an option. If they don't, then pull back up to my club and we can talk about creating a plan.
Okay, I guess I have to get your information because my points went down. I was like in the 640s and I'm down to 585, but I'm still making payments, nothing late, but it's just a lot. And my creditor, the one that gives me the most, because of them, my credit was good, and I don't want to mess up that relationship.
You don't, because that age is there. Yes,
It's Navy Federal, so I'm gonna have to call them and try to talk to them because of them, they help me out so much, and I don't want to lose that relationship with them. So,
and let them know because they might have a lot of them see what money is coming into your bank account and they can offer options. But what I would say is start with the conversation after you have first start with what your debts are. Make sure you're writing that out, what your debts are. Actually have your statement date and your due dates there, and then start calling the creditors, especially the ones that you don't want to burn bridges with. I love the fact that you're saying, hey, I love Navy Federal. They've been amazing to me. You definitely want to make sure that you're anchoring with relationships and explaining to them where you are and seeing if there's a way that they can help. Because sometimes they can pause your account. Again, every company is different. So you got to find out what
and there's some
they can work
expenses
with
I
for
have
you.
to cut out. Uber Eats is the devil, so I
Come
have to
on,
let it go.
somebody. Come on, somebody. Come on.
So
I like
that's
the
someplace I have.
honesty.
cut out.
I love that. Come on, friend. Eduardo's question in the comment is, where do I find my statement?
Thank you
On
so
your
much.
action. My pleasure, Wendy. On your report, on your statement, it will have a begin date and an end date, or it will say open date and close date. That information is your statement date. Here, Eduardo, what did you have another question for me, my love?
Well, yes, I have a credit of 650. I
Mhm.
owe $20,000 in student loans. My question is,
Mhm.
should I ask for a
Excuse me.
personal loan to pay off my debt? In other words, should I transfer my student debt into a personal loan just to make it look a little bit more attractive
It
to...
doesn't look more attractive if you move it from one vessel to another,
Oh,
because
really?
student loans are looked at differently. If you put it on a personal loan and you default, you're going to be in a worse situation than if you kept it in your student loans.
I understand. So, my other question was, do I need to make two payments each month before the 3 days of the statement ends, or one payment? It's okay.
Oh, that question would be subjected to your money. I don't know if you're using the card on a daily basis. Again, all of that would be contingent on how you're using the card as to how often you should pay it. For me, I only think that multiple payments should happen in a month time if we're talking about like student loans or your car payment, because those are charged, the interests are charged on a daily, and if you pay more frequently. So let's say your student loan payment is $100 and you break it down to where you send them $25 a week, right? The the amount that you're going to owe more is going to go to your principal than to your interest. If you have a car payment and you split up the payments, the same thing. But if we're talking about credit cards, the question would be, how are you using that card? If that's a card that you're using on a consistent basis, you may end up paying it like I do multiple times in a month versus just making that payment 2 to 3 times before the statement date. It depends on how you're using it.
I use the card just like you use it, just like you use it. I pay. I mean, I use it for consistent. I
Yeah.
So what you're saying is it doesn't matter how many times do I pay the card if I just make sure it is 3 days after before the
Before.
statement date.
Mhm. As long as you pay it down to the lowest possible number 3 days before the statement date closes, your utilization is going to be low, and therefore your credit score is going to be able to be higher. You got it.
I understand. I try to clean my credit card every single day, but how long do I
You
need
don't need to
to
do that.
wait? Oh, I
You
don't
don't
need
need
to
to
do
do
that?
that. No. What I need you to pay attention to is leave your money in your bank account. Find out when your statement date's about to close, and then set an alarm on your phone for 3 days before that, and that's when you make your payment on the card. That's simple. That way you're not stressing yourself out. You're not overextending yourself. At the end of that time period, you go ahead and pay. The exception to that rule, again, is if, let's say, that card has a $2,000 limit and within 2 weeks you use $2,000, then you want to go ahead and pay that $2,000 because you want to have accessibility to the full card. Like if you're using Capital One or American Express, you have access to the funds right there. But you have to be very clear. You do not need, if you spend $100, you don't need to turn around and pay the $100 back right then, because that's not changing the fact that the report on your card only goes once a month. So you're
I
making all those
understand.
multiple payments. They're still only reporting it to the credit reporting agencies one time
Once.
in that time frame. So you're doing that is just extra work on yourself.
I understand. And is it better if for example, I only make one payment, but I clean the balance completely?
That's fine.
That's fine. It doesn't make
Mhm.
any difference if I, for example, bring some remained balance
No,
into the
sir.
other month?
No, sir.
All right, I understood
Mhm.
perfectly. Thank you for your time.
It is my pleasure. I love the questions. All right. Should I try a personal loan for my credit card debt? It depends on your situation. Capital on venture card, LLO. I have a Capital One card. Child, most of us do. Okay. Can you still negotiate your creditor to lower your interest rate, or is that a thing of the past? Yes, you can still do it. Do all of them do it? No. A lot of them say no. And let me be clear, the laws were passed, and I like to keep it funky with y'all because I go to CardCon, I go to Credit Con, I go to all these cons that are out here, okay, all these conventions, and laws were passed to help the banks to be able to get breaks, and they could then pass those breaks on to us. Let's be clear. The banks have the ability to give us reward points on our debit cards, just like they can give it to us on our credit cards. They choose not to. So that is why I'm a very big advocate on you date your bank, you marry your spouse. You do not feel loyalty towards them because there is not a loyalty that is extended to y'all. I am telling you right now, the more money you have sitting in your account, the more you can leverage your behavior with that particular financial institution. But do not feel trapped. You can ask. What they gonna say? No. Call them. Call them. I promise you, it's not gonna be a headache. Coast to Coast says, yes, that insurance work. It sure does. And I'm gonna tell y'all a real story. When I went through my divorce, I had insurance on all my cards. I went from a 7, I want to say right when I started my divorce, I was at like a 733, 723 was like my mid number. In 45 days, my credit score went down to a 549. Okay. When I say he maxed every card we had, and it was crazy. But the thing was, he always maxed the cards. It's just that he always made the payments. And then because I was in the financial industry, I would also make another payment right before the statement was about to close. So because we were together, it wasn't really a big issue. When we got through the divorce and his payment habits and how he operates really impacted me. And then now I had to deal with how am I going to raise 3 kids on just one income? And I did the stupid thing, y'all. And that's why I'm telling y'all not to do what I did. I did not call. I had insurance on every single one of my cards. I'm talking about down to the retail cards. And I did not call because I was ashamed. I was ashamed that I was getting a divorce. I felt like everybody who told me not to get married, they were right and I was wrong. I was ashamed of the fact that I was even in that situation. I was ashamed that I was going to be a single mom. And I want to say, I wish someone was in my corner to tell me that God gives us grace. We are given grace every day. Every day when we get up, we can take a new cup of grace. And I want us to give ourselves that. So utilize the tools, ask the questions, because if you don't ask, the answer is an automatic no. I agree. I just called it. Stephanie said, I agree. I just called a creditor and found out that I had insurance and we started a claim to help me pay a part of my bill. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. They all have hardship recognition. Yes, they all have most of them have a hardship program. Now, here's the thing. Do not accept a hardship program if they're saying they're going to close the card, if you want to keep the card. If your finances are saying, listen, I cannot do this, do not allow yourself to burn. Go ahead and enter the program. We can always rebuild you, but we don't want you to stay on fire. Okay? All right. So thank you so much, Fun Nation, for dropping information in the chat. I appreciate you, friend. If you have more than one credit card, you can spread out the debt and it could be over 30. Yes, I did a 30-day reprieve. So I do tell people to try and get 2 credit cards, one at the beginning of the month, one at the middle of the month, because it will be more beneficial for you to navigate the waters, for you to switch from one card to the next card right when you're supposed to. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm trying to make sure that I download all of these things before I let you guys go. Any last minute questions? Thank you, Erica. I'm downloading your stuff right now, boo. Oh, hold on. Hang on 1 second. I just saw that. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm trying to make sure that, boom. Okay. Done, Megan. Never live on credit cards to be a slave, correct? My pleasure, love. What about paying your tax bill? Any thoughts on that? I am so sorry that it's outside of my scope. I have no idea. If you're talking about how to make the payments, I still will leverage breaking up the payments, but I would say to talk to a CPA to get an answer for that.
And if it's property tax, there's certain programs that'll help you not get rid of it, but it'll defer it pretty much till you pass away. If you're on disability or a veteran, look to your county for that. Is it property tax or personal tax? Who asked that?
The person who asked that was Turner about taxes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's personal. It's personal, Megan. It's not.
Okay, so then there is something called offer and compromise in our when you have another host on here on the Let's Go Help Too. Her name is Tula. She's awesome. She actually has done it herself for herself and had great results. I mean, she had like a
Alexa, what time is it?
bill.
It's
So
10:40 p.m.
Yeah, I'm on a like a what do they call it? Like a payment where you can pay. I
the
forgot.
offer and compromise. Is that what you already did?
No, well, I know you can just pay like you can pick your monthly whatever note for. I've been doing it for a while, but I'm just trying to find a faster way to get rid of the taxes, and I don't know if going a personal loan route to get rid of all that would be worth it, or just keep working stabbing at it.
I would keep stabbing at it, but I mean, I also would ask a CPA because we are not CPAs and legal advice. However, there are people out there that they can, and that have been in your shoes and done it. I have not been in your shoes and done that. So, please, please, I would also tag Tula and ask in the chat, like the main chat. That would probably be your best bet because she's really smart about that kind of stuff. She's done it before. She's had it, done it, and ruled her life, and she's like won.
We'll do it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Racquel.
No problem. Pamela, what questions do you have, Mela?
I have a question for you and a question for Megan. Now, I'm learning so much in this conversation about my credit cards, and I just need to know because I don't have any kind of credit card. Well, I do, so let me not say that. I need to know what are the two best credit cards to get cash back from when I buy something.
It would depend because everyone has different quotas running at different times. Sometimes it might be Citibank. Sometimes it's your personal institution. So you would have to research at the time. Personally, I have found that the two cards that I currently have right now that are offering me the best is Capital One. And the other one is my Amex. However, that was based on when I signed up with them. So you would have to do a little bit more research to see who's available right now to give you that cashback offer. That's a great question.
Okay. I will look into that. Have you heard of the SoFi credit card?
I have.
You know anything about that one?
I do not know about the credit card, but I have a lot of friends who have them, and they have been raving about the money that they make from referring people out and stuff like that. As far as side effects, I haven't heard any side effects as of yet, but I haven't deep sea dived into that as of yet because I use other credit builders for my clients. So I'll do some research and I'll come back to the room to kind of give you guys an update on that.
That sounds really good, and thank you so
My
much.
pleasure.
And I have a question for Megan because this is not the platform for property tax, but to make a long story short, I'm in the state of California and I am a senior, and I had some remodeling done to my home, and in the process, they did not tell me that they were going to put the bill on my property taxes. Now
wow.
Yes. So
was that the USDA or what program was that?
It was oh my gosh, I can't think of it right now. Right
was
now,
the weatherization program?
Say that again.
The weatherization program or CAP, the CA.
It wasn't a weatherization because I got a roof, I got solar, I got my bathroom done, but they never told me. Now, of course, it was
a REAP grant.
It wasn't no, it's not a grant. No.
No, there's a loan combo grant called the REAP grant. It's through the USDA. They do weatherization, they do solar, they do anything that's energy efficiency is what they do. They call it whole home energy efficiency.
This wasn't it. And so my question is, I'm trying to find my taxes are due. and my
Right.
taxes are $8,000.
Oy,
Yes, it
okay.
quadruple.
You
So
said you're a senior?
yes, I am.
You can get it deferred.
I
You're in
can.
California? Yeah,
Yes.
you're in California. What state, what county?
LA.
Oh yeah, for sure you can. I mean, I'm in LA, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you know who do I go to? I mean,
You're
because
gonna go to the county. Here, I'll put it in the chat for you.
okay, just put it in the chat for me.
All right.
Sorry about that, you guys, but you
No,
said
you're fine.
property taxes, and I said, let me ask, because the only thing they could tell me is yes or no.
Are you on disability or
Definitely.
anything, or a pension?
Say that again.
Are you on a disability or a pension or anything like that?
Oh, I'm still working,
Okay. Oh, okay. That's okay.
but I collect Social Security.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Relax.
All right, Vanessa, you're next, and then I'm going to answer the question in the chat.
Okay, got kind of a walking question here. I still don't know how to send you guys that form, the survey. There-
Are you not able to save it? Because you
I
should be able to save it and then upload it, but are you on the phone or on your computer?
I don't have a computer yet. I'm on the
Okay.
phone.
And did you fill it out on the phone?
No, I just wrote it down on a piece of paper and filled it out like that.
Okay, so send me a message in the group with the answers.
Hmm.
In the chat?
If you want to. Well, I would say if you could message it to me like not in the chat, like in the forum, just send me a message with it. That would be better because I can't copy it from the chat.
Can I have the link or something?
I will try to figure out. If not, just stay on and I'll take the poll for you at the end because we're about to wrap up. So just stay on and I'll write it down for you. The question in the chat was, thank you, Vanessa, but I got you, friend. Question in the chat was, my score took a deep plunge into 500s. What is the quickest way for me to raise my score? I have no credit card. So if you have no credit cards, you're already impacting your 165 points, which is out there. So I would say to try and see if you can get a secure card, and number two, do you have any loans? What are your loans looking like? If you don't have a loan, then see if you can do also a pledge loan at your bank to support you as well. But I would need more information on your file. So if you can come back, we can dive into what else is on your report and see how else we can tackle it. Because there are some accounts that I did mention before, such as Kickoff and Cred AI that can help you boost your score, especially if you don't have anything available there. Give me 1 second. Let me drop it in the chat. Especially if you don't have any credit cards or credit lines, you're missing out points in that area. That is an option that you can take. I put the Kickoff app in the chat that you can utilize to kind of get you where you need to be. But if you can come back with your report, we'll be happy to look at it. And also, of course, Steve's response of getting a secured card is a great response as well. Anything else before I let you guys go? Denise, I responded to your note, my love. Scroll back up. I did respond to your note. Anything else, guys, before I let you go?
Let me finish copying.
Okay, no problem. Hey, Erica, what questions you have?
Okay, sorry. Hi.
Hi.
I'm in the rebuilding phase. I've been unemployed since the pandemic because I work with kids, and of course, we went from a 300 kid program to about 50 kids, and of course, they had to shorten everybody's thing, and we're only doing essential parents. So that became a problem. So I am in the rebuilding phase again because I was unemployed in 2009. So now so now I'm with this company called Sunbit, and there's nothing to this card whatsoever except for 17% interest. That's it. And I'm down to 33% usage. They upped me in 6 months because I paid like as much as I could. I'm I only owe I only owe $1,300. I've been paying off at least $300 a month, like 150 each
Mm-hmm.
pay time. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a rebuilding phase, and I have 3 credit unions and one savings account at the local bank here. So I
Mm-hmm.
thank you guys. This is my first time. I've been trying to get to this call. So just thank y'all for all this information. And I hate to say it, I hate secured cards because I had great credit before the first unemployment. And so now I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but I know in order to rebuild, I gotta pay a fee. Oh, that's the only I hate fees. That's my biggest thing. I hate fees.
Oh, I
That's just me.
understand.
I was like, I will not pay a fee if I don't have to. So, but I thank y'all for all this information. I hope to be back next
Next
uh
Sunday.
yes.
Awesome. We love to have you back, friend. Okay. Adrian, am I saying your name right? Because I've okay, thank you so much, friend. What you got?
No, I just wanted to say thank you because my mom was listening to you guys. She goes, "Are they still in there?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Those women, they spent every fiber of their being trying to help people out." So thank you so much for helping us out, and everyone else with the questions that you asked are helpful too. So I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Do we still have homework? Everyone who has turned in their packet, you do not have homework. If you have not turned in your packet, please, please, please go ahead and send it over to us so that we can curate the next
Actually,
7 weeks. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Megan. Go ahead.
my hands up, my hands up. I was trying to put my hands up. I didn't realize my screen was off.
You're fine.
Oh, also, you do have homework. We all need you need to bring your 3 credit bureau scores. I put the smart credit link in there. It's
That's right. That's
$1.99
right.
for 7 days. Get it. We need your scores. I'll put it in again right now.
And let me see. I think I have a link.
Pamela, you can get them right there. That's the link that'll give you a discount for $1.99. And yeah. I wonder if we should start. Oh, well, I guess we'll figure that out next weekend.
Well, we can talk about it offline. That's not a problem. I'm just trying to write. So I think Vanessa was trying to send me over. Vanessa, if you can send me a private message of your answers, I will write it down.
And then can you count how many we have?
Can I ask you a question, please?
Yes.
Yes.
How different is, well, I came in late. I forgot that you guys started. I was doing something else. I came in about half an hour more late, and I missed about the program. But I do have other, like my bank account, my bank follows the credit to see what should I do, what should I not do. Credit Karma does that. How different is yours from doing that? Telling me do this, do that. Is that what you're talking about? What you're
Can you
saying
can
to
you
turn?
rephrase the question? Because I'm not understanding. So
Oh,
you're
I'm
saying
sorry.
your bank shows you your credit report, and then you also have Credit Karma,
Right, and that's how I
correct?
follow. Maybe I should go up and down on this, or what should I do less or more to bring up my score? But how different is yours? I missed what it
So,
was all
so
about.
Credit Karma only gives you 2 of the 3 credit reporting agencies. If you are
Right.
able to, so you never look at the numbers, you can use it for reporting information. So if you have accessibility to go ahead and pull the reports off of Credit Karma, by all means, when you come to class next week, pull the reports from Credit Karma, as well as if you have the 3rd credit reporting agency through your bank, pull that report so that you can have it in class. What we are offering with that tool is that you get to see all 3 of the credit reporting agencies at one time, and you can pull all the reports down. So it's completely up to you if you want to have it in a one and done situation. If you have accessibility to just print the reports out and have it handy, then go ahead and do so. Just know it's going to look a little bit different than
Right.
ours.
I do have Experian, but
Mhm.
I don't pay for it. I can just log
Mhm.
in, look at my.
Yeah, pull the report. Just pull the
And
report and have it handy.
okay, and what am I gonna do with it when I bring it?
So I'm
How
about
do?
to tell you that. So hang on one second because I want to make
Sorry,
sure everyone is on the same page. Great
sorry.
question. No, you're fine. Hold on one second. Hang on one second, because Megan asked me about
Of
how many
course, thank you.
people. So Oh,
No, go
Shaka
right ahead.
Khan.
Sorry.
No, I just realized we have a bunch of paper.
Sorry there, bud. Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, you're fine. Sorry about that, guys. I just had to walk
Leslie,
over to my printer.
your only homework is going to be just bring your credit reports for the next week. 'Cause that's your only homework right now.
So
'Cause
I need you to,
something.
1 second, I need you to pull your credit report. One.
Okay.
Two, I also need you guys to highlight in the personal information area if there's any misspelling of names, multiple addresses, or employers. I need you guys to highlight that area. We're going to start from the top and work our way down.
Okay.
Okay.
I do have
So
a lot of addresses and I don't know how to get them all.
we're going to
All
tell
my
you how to
old
do that.
addresses. Huh?
We're going to tell you how to do that. So we got
Okay,
you.
great. Great. All right, that's basic. Is there a fee for that?
We're not charging you a fee to teach you, no.
Oh,
If you
okay.
come in this room, you do it yourself, you're gonna get the support.
Oh, okay, thank you. I just wanted to be sure because I missed. I didn't think there would be if you're doing it the way you always do, but I wasn't sure if it's through another agency or something. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay. 4, 5, 6. I have 6. 7, 8. I have 8 people.
Okay.
It's my pleasure, Stephanie.
So in the way that this class works, guys, is the more participation we get, the better off our pilot program is going to go, and the more help we can actually give you guys, and the more people will be able to support. So if you haven't turned in your thing, please either message us or get it to us somehow this week. I'll put my email in the chat. Raquel, if you would like to, you may.
Absolutely, darling.
Just send this over definitely send this over the answers to us, because that really does help us. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. If you just show up with your credit scores, that will help us as well. So please.
It's not, I'm sorry, it's not the whole credit, is it? Or just the information or the whole credit on
You
each
need the
one?
full report
Full
of
report.
all 3. Yes, ma'am.
And where am I supposed to put it?
You're going to have it with you when you
Oh,
come
okay.
to
I
the
thought you
call.
said put it up before the end, before the week.
No, she's talking about the survey. She's
Oh.
talking about the survey that we had. If you already did the survey, don't worry about it. If you haven't done the survey, please go to the resource tab and complete the survey. We will
Resource.
also drop it here in the chitty chat
Yeah, I'll do it
once
right now.
more. I got
Okay.
you, Megan. I already dropped the chat. I already
Okay.
chopped it.
I didn't hear that, I guess, at the
No
beginning.
problem.
Hello.
Okay. I will do that. Thank you.
Hello, this is
Anytime.
JoJo. Hello, this
Yes.
is JoJo. I don't have a hand. I don't know why is it I don't have a hand.
No worries, love. What's
But
up?
yes, the questionnaire. Did you get mine?
I believe so. You had put it in the chat, correct?
I don't know how to put it in the chat.
Okay, so if you didn't put it in the chat, the answer would be I don't have it. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
I wonder how
The
how to do
survey
it.
is in the chat,
Mhm.
and it's also in the resource guide under downloads and PDFs. So you guys can download it from there. Or Steve, if you have the ability to see it in the chat, right before your actual message is the link. So you can click it, you should be able to open it, and then you can download it.
Oh, I did that last week. So I wondered,
Did you send it over to us last week? Because I don't think we didn't get anyone that sent it over last week.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
So
if you can drop it in the chat, that'd be great. If you can't, you can always forward it to us via email.
oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Great questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Anytime. All right, y'all. I have to go stalk my husband. Does anyone have any questions? Doreen, I got yours. Who else? There was someone else who put it in the chat. Vanessa, I got yours. You're good. You're already in the pile. So we got 10. So if everyone else can gather, and grab it out of the download file, that'd be completely great. Next week, we are going to go recap, look over what you guys have on your personal information, and execute. I want us to be able to make sure we're making the massive impact forward. Yep, I got yours as well, Turner. Yep. Any
Okay.
other questions, guys?
No, I'll have to find that survey and then I'll turn it in. Thank you.
The survey is in the chat, so I'm going to drop it one more time. If you guys can go to the chat, it's actually in the chat, and it's also located under resources, downloads, and PDFs.
Okay, great. I was looking at the chat, going through and see where it is, so I'm sure I'll find it.
I just dropped it. So if you open the chat right now, at the very bottom, it's
at the bottom.
Turner's, and before Turner is my post.
I got it now. Yeah, I keep going into
Awesome.
different. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. It is my pleasure. Let me go ahead and delete some of these things here. All right. So thank you guys for being amazing and giving us 2 hours of your Sunday. Y'all are bosses, okay? Y'all are about to make massive movements.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can
Thank
I
you.
send an email to you to both of your addresses? Absolutely. You can definitely email us. We'd be happy to support. Miss C, thank you for having us. Diego, it's my pleasure being here. I can't wait to catch y'all on the flip side. Oh, let me go ahead and download this, Diego. Thank you for dropping it for me. Hold on one second. Okay, cool. And please understand that everyone's going to be at a different journey. We are not judging the journey. We just want to make sure we support you. So if you are here, you're able to meet everything, then you're just coming here for knowledge, and that's cool. There's no judgment here. We want to be able to support everyone where they are and help you get to your next level. So without any further ado, y'all better go ahead and hug up on somebody. If it's just yourself, give yourselves a hug, okay? Because I hug me all the time. Okay. Thank you guys for being amazing. Megan, do you have anything else that you want to say, my love?
No, just good night, everybody. Thank you guys. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your participation and everything that you guys do bring to the table of this. And Mr. Gurley, good night. I stalked your website a little bit. I gotta tell you, I love it. Good job.
Good night.
Thank
Until
you.
next time.
Good night.
Come on Wednesday, Mr. Gurley. I want to talk to you.
Okay, bye.